Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Can everybody hear me?
Yes. Yes, we can.
Okay, excellent. Thank you, Robin. And let me double check and make sure I got my right speaker working. Built-in internal speaker. Let's do this. Speaker, microphone. It's the built-in microphone. What about my Samsung? Hold on 1 second. Is this plugged in? No, it's not plugged in, so that would explain that. Let's do this. Hold on 1 second, so I don't lose anything. Let's eject that. Eject that. All right, now we can take that out. Let's put this in. Boom. Let's give that a second. Now let's try this. All right, Samsung satellite and Samsung. Let's do this. Second, test the speakers. Testing 1, 2, 3. Testing 1, 2, 3.
I still hear you.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Now, can everybody still hear me?
Yes, I can. Muhammad can hear you.
Yes, no?
Yes, yes, yes.
I would answer that. Boom, boom. Samsonite, test the speakers and the microphone. Testing 1, 2, 3.
Still good.
Nope, nope, nope. Let's do this.
No, I can't hear you now. It's very broken and hard to hear.
Hard to hear?
Oh, there we go. You're back.
Okay, very good. All right. Let's take that off. Now, hopefully the microphone is a little bit better, that you can hear me better out of this microphone.
Yeah, I didn't have any problems the first time.
Okay. How about now? Is this any better? Is it the same?
It's
I
fine.
say it's fine. We're
Okay.
good.
Excellent. Very, very good. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, got some exciting stuff to go over with you today. We're going to talk about leads. We're going to do a lot of talking about leads. We're going to talk about what's happening in the MOS, what new forms we have to fill out in order to put things in the MOS. And so we're going to go over all the changes that will be taking place in our new world. So Bright is already prepping for the judge's edict, verdict, whatever you want to call it, before it comes down the pike. So we're going to go over the new forms. We're going to go over lead generation, how much money you should be spending on leads, what you should be saying when you contact the leads. And so we're going to go over a few things to really help you with your business. Before we get started, Robin, beautiful job on your marketing materials. I mean, the way that you use the black and the gold in your marketing material, really, really nice.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. You
You
like
are,
that one better than the blue one?
I like, I'm partial to the black and the gold, and
Okay,
it represents the company. And as I
okay.
said to us last meeting, if we could all change our Facebook picture or cover picture to your business card, that would be good. Now, speaking of business cards, let's do this right here. I am going to send everybody an email right now, and this is going to have your two files, your buyer file and your seller file. You don't need to open them up right now and go to the email. But again, as I said, I want you to make sure that you do have these. And I just want to make sure that my name's not on any of them, some of them. Now, on one of your forms, you'll have my name as a witness already on your form. That's fine. I'm your witness. Even though I didn't see him sign it, I'm still technically your witness for that. So that'll be the only one that you will have that might have my signature already on it. All right, so let's do this. And instead of doing a folder, because some of you cannot open zip files in your email, I'm just going to send this in separate attachments in your email. And if you notice that we have probably about 5 less agents now that we had before continuing education. And maybe it was financial reasons, maybe it was other reasons. Omont is moving on, but he's going back to the school and college, so it'll be a little bit before he does move on. But I think the other ones just simply never got around to doing their continuing education and made no efforts to reach out to me. Maybe didn't want to explain to me that they had some financial issues and couldn't do their continuing education, whatever it may be. But we will have a lot of new faces coming on. I have several interviews set up with potential agents, as I said that we would be doing at our last meeting. So some of these agents might be wanting to ask you guys for help. I remember when Robin used to go to Denzel, and Leanie used to go to Malik, and so forth. Again, guys, work with each other, help each other, because it's rewards. It comes back to you when you help other people. And that's the one thing I like about the real estate business, that it is rewarding, not only monetarily, but spiritually as well. Because when you help others, that's a good feeling knowing that you help somebody, at least for me. I guess it depends on your horoscope and your other things, but for me, it's a good feeling knowing that I help somebody.
I agree.
All right, excellent. And that Robin can understand, she's in that nursing field as well. And she's into the credit repair, ladies and gentlemen. So she's learning how to do the credit repair. Myself, not a big fan of it. And I think Robin's starting to experience it's kind of more recruiting. And that's a lot of brokers too, ladies and gentlemen. When you go with EXP, Keller Williams, you're not an agent with Keller Williams. You are a recruiting agent. The very first thing Keller Williams is going to do is turn you into a recruiting agent. And that's one thing I always had a problem with. The broker's job is to help you run a real estate company. And that's what the broker's job is supposed to do, not make you a recruiter. But again, as I said, that is the model of a lot of companies. And so some of you are very astute and catch on very, very quickly as to their business model. If it's not going to help you, then what the hell's the sense of having it? Let's do this. And how to have it, I just do this. Let's just do this. Let's put this in here. And let's send you your first email because we got a lot to get to today. So I'm sending you the buyer package, stage 1, buyer package, master agent file. And let's grab everybody's email here, and I'll be sending you the buyer file real quick. Copy everybody's email, copy, and I'm just going to
So
put.
we delete anything with buyers previous to this email, correct?
No, we didn't really do too much in the upgrading. So no, I would,
Okay.
just take what you had in the past and then add to it.
Okay.
Some of it you might, but no, the forms really didn't change. I just want to make sure if you don't have the forms that you do. And we will be adding a couple of forms there as well. And so let's do this. Now, some of your forms that you should be adding here will be notices, your lead-based paint notice, your home inspection notice, your mold notices. Some of you may not be giving these to your clients. I would suggest that it's in the file for a reason and just add it to the email and send it to them. This way here, if you ever get audited by the real estate commission and the real estate commission says, did you send them their required notices? You can show an email that you did send it to them. All right. Buyer financial, where is the BFI, buyer's tenant agent agreement? So what's the difference between that and this copy there? Hold on 1 second. And then it is simply a copy. So we need to take one of these out. And again, I will be changing these forms to our forms, but after the court ruling, not before then. All right, so for right now, we are still technically using these forms. So make a habit of doing it myself and not having that. Let's make sure we have this. It's realty, and where is the buyer's financial information? All right, there we go. And let's make sure that we have that. Ladies and gentlemen, the BFI, the buyer's financial information. Again, we seem to kind of overlook this form, but we shouldn't. We need it for our offers. Buyer file. Let me just make sure I have everything, because you're not going to need that. You'll need that for the seller's file. Okay, so I'm going to send this to you right now, ladies and gentlemen. And I would suggest that you put a file on your desktop for your buyer forms and now your seller forms, so that you can easily open up your folder and have your forms. And I would also recommend that you fill out as much of the information as you can so that it is prepared. Send. And let me show you what I mean. Hold on 1 second. And let's put this down here. And let's do this. Let's open this up all the way. Share my screen with you so that you understand. Management 101. We've had this conversation. We talked about management. And the only way that you're going to be successful is management, proper management. So let's do this, ladies and gentlemen. Now, you will see in a second. I just sent you these forms here, but notice I have another folder called prepared forms, and I can open up my prepared forms. And when I open up my prepared forms, these forms are pretty much already filled out. All right, let's take an agreement of sale. Notice that now my name's here, everything I need. All I need to do is change the real estate agent. I was, both agents here. All I need to do is just change the name of the buyer or the seller. I see you're not seeing it. Hold on 1 second. Let's do this. And it's just not allowing me to open up those forms here. Hold on 1 second. And let's go here and let's do this. Let's open up the standard agreement of sale and open that up as well. All right. And then let's open up this form here. Buyer tenant agency agreement. Boom, boom. Let's open this up. And now I can show it to you. Okay, very good. Share my screen. So now we need this and this and this and this, and this. Where is it? This and this. There it is. Okay, boom. Okay, so give it a second. This is buyer agency. Notice that I already have it pre-filled out. Why not? It's the same broker. It's you. You're not going to change. So why not have this part already filled out on your prepared forms? Then all you need to do is change your buyer. Put a new buyer in there, their address. All right. Change the date here and maybe your commission as well. All right. In this situation, I usually want $500 here, ladies and gentlemen. All right. But you're independent contractors. This is you. You figure out what you want to charge. $1, $500, $1,000 with your buyer. That's up to you. I would suggest that you get used to the $500. Almost all my buyers are $500. And now don't get greedy and try to do 1,000, because sometimes the lender will force you to waive your buyer agency commission at $1,000 because of the ratios. So I kind of want to get used to the $500 plus my split commission with the seller. So I'm going to be getting 2.5%, 3% with the seller plus my $500 with the buyer. All right. Yes, I tried to get $1,000, but I ended up waiving a couple of them and ended up with nothing. So I thought to myself, well, I should have stuck with the $500. At least I would have had the $500 instead of nothing. But if I wanted this deal to go through with, I got 2 clients in my mind that I had to do it. I wanted the commission. So I still wanted the $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 commission, but I lost my $1,000 on the buyer side. I had to waive it. Otherwise, we couldn't get them into the mortgage. So keep that in mind when you do this buyer fee. $500 is really what I like to do. This way here, chances are you won't lose your $500, but you could lose 1,000. Keep that in mind. 3% of the sales price, and notice that it says and $500, not and or. So I always got to make it sure that my client understands that we are charging them. And I always make it clear that I got food to put on the table. I got bills to pay. I can't work for free. But if you're looking for free, you need to find another agent, another broker. All right. I'm not your guy. So the point that I want you to understand is have as much of your forms prepared, filled out, so it saves you time. All right. Signature already done. Also, notice this, ladies and gentlemen, I can do my signature and initials. All right. So here's my initials. If I need to put my initials there, shrink them, put that there. If I need my signature, there it is. I could put that here, signature. You should have this set up in your computer so that you have it in a Word file. For Apple, what you need to do is write your signature or your initials, hold it up to the camera, and it will snap a picture of it. And now you can use these in your, I also have another one. If I don't like that WN, I can use this WN for Warren Nelson. So instead of printing your initials with your keyboard, you should get used to having them already programmed into your computer so that you can use them anytime you want. All right. This way here makes it easy. See how I got my initials here? WN right here. That should be a thing of the past. And now what I need to do is put in my WN. I like this one. I'll put this one here, shrink it down to make it look a little bit better, and boom. Now there's my initials. All right. So this is what you want to do to make your forms as easy as possible. Have as much of them prepared as you can. And as you can see, I have my prepared forms. I just sent you these forms that are blank, and it also includes your required forms, your lead-based paint, your home inspection, your mold, and they're in there. You need to make sure that all your buyers get these 3 as well. All right. Otherwise, we might have a problem later on down the line. Now, in that form I just gave you, ladies and gentlemen, we have, let's see if it'll do it on my share screen. Good, it does. The whole procedure, exactly step by step of what you need to do, starting with your lead generation, qualifying your customer. Then what do you send to them for your customer? The consumer notice, the business relationship agreement, the BFI. All right. Then after you get a pre-approval for them, you start shopping your client. You'll set up some properties to go searching for them. You'll show them, you'll close them. And now when we find a property that you like, here's how you present your offer to the other agent and what you need in your offer. So everything that you need step by step is right here. I printed it all out for you. I put it together for you, all the way up to the settlement table, even negotiation tactics. This is not the first time I've given this to you. I probably have given this to you 4 times. Some of you are getting it for the very first time. And that's just the way it goes. So this is there, ladies and gentlemen, in the forms that I just gave you for your buyer. Your seller package is going to be a little bit different because we now have the new MLS forms that have to go along with your seller package. And we're going to go over those forms as well. But let me give you this here. Let's do this. Let's put this down here. Let's put this down here. Make sure I don't get no duplicates. And you know what? Mine are filled out already, but let's do this. Consumer notice. Okay, so that's good. That's not filled out. I can do another seller's estimated closing cost for you. Seller's property disclosure. I'm going to give you my prepared one, as a matter of fact, for my seller's property disclosure. Let's do this real quick. And let's do this. So quickly, all done. All right. And I left some numbers in your seller's estimated closing costs that are templated, so you don't have to worry about that. All right, so questions to ask, lead-based paint disclosure, blank, very good. And one more, and I'll send this to you, the listing contract. And of course, mine is filled out. So let's quickly take everything off so you guys have it. Boom, 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 boom. All right. And I probably left that in there for you, but I want you guys to do it yourself anyway. Boom. And then we got an interesting meeting to do today, so just got to get the formality stuff out of the way real quick. Boom, boom, boom. And let's take this off too, everything. So you have a blank form that you fill out yourselves. Everything's done, nothing there. And I even want to take that out. I want these guys to do everything. Okay, very good. All right, and this is blank. Yep. And then this will include your 2 new forms that we have to do it bright. And we're going to go over these 2 new forms as well. Boom. So let's do this. Boom. It's everything. Copy it. And I'm going to send you another email right now. And this will be your seller's package. Silly, silly me. Silly, silly me. Let's do this and put it over here like that. Let's do master agent. And let's get your email addresses again. Copy, add to, boom, seller package. Set. Okay, so now you should be putting 2 folders together. And those 2 folders should be a seller's package and a buyer package. And this way here, you have all your forms. And you can have your blank forms, which I recommend, and then do another folder, copy everything, put it in another folder called prepared forms. And this way here, you'll have your prepared forms. All right. You always want to have the blank ones as well as your ones that you have pre-filled out. And be careful about the pre-filled out ones. You don't want to be sending somebody a form that has somebody else's information on it. You didn't correct it. So sometimes taking shortcuts cost us. All right, so done. Stop sharing the screen. Am I still sharing? Stop sharing. Stop sharing. Okay, and let's do this. Put this here, and we'll go over this. Now, before we go any further, let's talk about lead generation. And in my lead generation, you could decide to sign up for certain things for your lead generation. I love the webinars. I know me and Arthur have been talking about webinars. He's been looking into it. You know that I run first time webinars, and it's the business. How are you going to be getting your next client? How does that work? And so what do you do? Now, for certain people like Malik, who is subcontractor. He does a lot of subcontracting work. While he's driving in between jobs, if he doesn't have anything in his queue, which he probably has, ride after ride after ride in his queue, he does have some downtime. In that downtime is when I used to, because I used to do Lyft and Uber as well. Well, Lyft, I never did Uber. I would be posting. Anytime. I used to sit at the Trenton Airport or the Trenton train station, and as I was waiting for a ride, I would be posting or contacting and talking to clients. But in any event, you're going to have some kind of lead generation. Robin just did some beautiful flyers that she's going to be using, and I approved them, and she's going to now start using those flyers for her Instagram, her LinkedIn, her Facebook, whatever she decides, Pinterest, whatever she decides. She doesn't need them all, but somehow or another, you should have some kind of lead generation. So let's do this. I want to show you one of the ones that I use. As you already know, I have many different kind of lead generations, but it costs to be boss. And you have to make sure that you're not spending money and not getting a return on your investment. It's very, very important. So this is called inbox real estate leads. It's one of the cheaper ones that I use. And I mention it because the leads are on a higher average. You know, you're not going to get 100%. So I would say that we were probably on a 50% margin, which is pretty high for lead generation. If half of the leads you get are good. Notice that I can get either buyer leads, see the buyer here, or I could get also seller leads as well. And I have them here to show you. Notice all these leads that have come in over a period of time. We're going back to 5/29. All right, what are we in? 6 now, the month of 6. So I have my buyer leads and my seller leads. Let's see if it gives me a choice between the buyer and the seller. The problem is, chances are, notice what happens here. See, here's a buyer lead, but notice there are 107 other agents who are also considering buying these leads. And once the lead is purchased, it'll come out. So I'm thinking that I might not have any seller leads here. Hold on, let me take a look to show you. But the seller leads are $35 and the buyer leads are $25. All right, cost to be boss. Let me see if it tells me here, hot buyer. Let me see if I got a seller lead that I can show you. Motivated seller. So let's open this one up, sign in, and let's see if my motivated seller lead is here and find out why. Yep, so probably was already purchased. All right. Okay, so the seller leads are $35. The buyer leads are $25. Now,
Per lead, Warren?
per lead. Now you get to choose what leads you want. I'm not going to be interested in this one. It's New Jersey. But I might be interested in this one. It's Philadelphia. Price range 150 to 200,000. Of course, that's what the buyer wants. Can they afford it? Can they qualify? That is another story. Love, thank you very much. Appreciate that. And so not every lead will be good. And some leads you will see 6 months. All right. See how I got 2 to 3 months, 1 to 2 months. All right. Will I buy this? A Warminster lead, 250 to 300,000. Would I buy these leads? That is the question. And so if I decide to accept the lead, then what do I do after I accept the lead? And I want to go over this with you so that you're not wasting leads. Now, let's take a look at this. If I'm paying $25 for a buyer lead, one lead, and I run a seminar, a webinar, which I pay $3,000 for, the webinar, the $3,000, am I getting a return on my money? What should I be expecting here? Second. And so let's take a look at this because I'm paying $3,000 for a webinar. Question is, right? $3,000, divide that by $25. I need 120 buyers at that webinar to equal $25. I have not gotten 120 buyers at a webinar. So I might be overpaying at $3,000. But if you're going to do a webinar, we have to do marketing. So out of that $3,000, $1,500 of it goes to Facebook marketing to get these individuals to the webinar. They don't know about it until we do the marketing and advertising. And in the 3-week marketing campaign, I can get 70 people to a webinar. All right. So now the question is, if I'm paying really $1,500 for the webinar, but $1,500 to market, it's still $3,000. I still need 125 to equal this, $25 per lead. All right. So you have to figure out in business what you're paying for a lead, what you're paying for a program. If you're paying monthly for a program, how many are you getting? I pay nothing for this. I only pay for the lead if I decide to purchase it. All right. And I have plenty of potential leads for buyers, but the sellers are going quickly at this time of the year. Now, July, August, a lot of agents are going to start simmering down as they usually do year to year. All right. They do everything from March to August, July, August. That's when most real estate agents work. But September, October, November, December, a lot of real estate agents are doing other kind of work, going to work for the IRS, driving, or doing something like that. And they kind of fizzle out at the second half of the year, which makes it a great opportunity for us who understand the seasonality of the business to work with buyers and not have to work with multiple offers at that time of the year. This time of the year is the mad rush. We're competing with every other agent out there for listings, for buyers, for deals, for offers. All right. So you got to understand the seasonality of the real estate business. So when you buy leads, what do we do? So we got a buyer lead and we got a seller lead. Let me tell you what I do with my buyer lead. If I'm going to buy this lead right here, and I'm going to get their information, I won't get their information until I buy the lead. If I'm going to buy this lead, what do I do after I buy this lead? All right. And that is the first thing, because a lot of you, when I say you, I mean real estate agents in general. A lot of real estate agents will buy a lead and really not know what to do. They'll send out a text. They'll call and get a voicemail and never call back again, or they'll call and get the voicemail 2 or 3 times. And what do? What kind of voice message do you leave? So forth. So let's deal with the buyer leads, and then we'll deal with the seller leads. The seller leads, I got it down. I don't like to brag, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, you know what? We'll get to it when we get to the seller leads. So let's talk about the buyer leads. The first thing I like to do with a buyer lead after I introduce myself, hey, this is Warren Nelson. I understand that you might be interested in purchasing a home. Will this be your first home? Notice how I hit them up with a question. I want to get a dialogue. Don't be chat like a robot. We got enough robots right now. All right. So you want to open up with, hey, this is Warren Nelson. I understand that you're looking to purchase your home. Is this going to be your first home? Because this will determine if the lead's good or not. Oh, I'm not looking. Whoever told you I'm not looking to buy no property. No, I already own a property. It's a bad lead. But notice it only took me a second to realize that the lead's bad. Now I'll get a credit. I can take that lead and get my $25 back. But I need to prove to them that it was a bad lead. Okay. So I understand you're looking to buy a property. Will this be your first home? Yeah, I've never done this before. That's good. Now I know I'm dealing with a first-time buyer. And I'll say, here's the thing about first-time buyers, buying your first home. It requires a little bit of management. And I can tell you right now, are you going to be buying this property cash or are you going to need financing? Again, see how I go and segue into another question. All right, I can tell you right now, and then I stop. Are you going to be buying this property cash? You're breaking open your piggy bank, or are you going to need financing? And you know what chances are it's going to be financing. And I say, great. The reason I ask is, here's what the lender's going to ask you. So I want you to be prepped and ready so you know. The lender's going to ask you for driver's license, social security card. They're going to ask you for your pay stubs. They're going to ask you for your bank statements. They're going to ask you for your W-2s and your 1040s. Are you in a position, management-wise? Do you have these things already ready? So see what I'm doing? I'm immediately going into the management end of what they're going to need, especially a first-time buyer. And if they don't have, this is how I find out if they're working or not. You know, this is how I found out what their income is, by helping them be prepared for their file that they're going to need for the lender. And if they say W-2s, 1040s, what are they? What's this telling me? I'm like, oh, I'm sorry. How are you bringing in income? What kind of income do you have? Is it Social Security, disability then? I get welfare, I get Social Security. So if they're getting some kind of disability, then they don't have a job. So obviously they don't know what a 1040 is and a W-2. But see how I'm able to find out, fish around, to rather than coming out and asking them, what kind of money you make? Where are you working? It's harsh. It's harsh. It's you know, so you kind of got to use the psychology like I've been teaching you over and over and over again. So my routine will be the same. All right. So again, hey, it's Warren Nelson. I understand you're looking to buy your private property. Is this going to be your first home? Hit them with a question, find out if it's a good lead or not. All right. And then say, oh, great. If your first property, I can tell you what the bank is going to be asking for. Let me ask you this question. Are you going to be buying this property cash, breaking open your bank, or are you going to need financing to buy this property? Financing. Okay, fine. Here's what the lender's going to ask you, and I want you to be prepared for this process when it happens. The lender's going to ask you for a copy of your Social Security card, your driver's license. They're going to ask you for your bank statements. They're going to ask you for your pay stubs. They're going to ask you for your W-2s and your 1040s. Are you prepared? You ready to rock and roll? Do you have these things available to get started? So I'm already prepping my buyer to find out if I got a good buyer or a bad buyer. All right. Now, here's what I say to them, because sometimes they'll just say yes. And I'll say, listen, there's grants available for first-time buyers. But you know what I have trouble with? I have trouble with the buyers that I work with sometimes. Sometimes they're not willing to help themselves. And you will have to take this class to get this $10,000. But sometimes I can't get my buyers to do a class. So can I ask you a question? If I ask you to work for me for one day, 8 hours, maybe 4 hour and another 4 hour, and I'm going to give you $10,000 for working for me for that one day, would you do it? And of course they always say, sure. And I say, would you believe that I can't get people to take this class for the $10,000? It's 8 hours, it's a 4 hour and a 4 hour, but for some reason or another, they come up with excuses as to why they can't do the class. And it tells me that I can't help them. I asked them for a copy of their driver's license. All they had to do is take a picture and send it to me, but yet they don't. So I want to know if you're ready to rock and roll Would you be willing to take the class for the $10,000? Would you be willing to send me the forms I need? Are you there yet, or you're not ready to do this yet? So this will take me 1 to 2 minutes. And what this does is it qualifies my buyer. Do I have a motivated buyer? Do I have a bullshit buyer? So now I want to categorize them. And no, I don't have these forms. This is where we're going to start. And now this is going to be a 3-month, this 6-month buyer. We already know it's going to be a month for the class. All right. We already know it's probably going to be a month to get them pre-approved. We don't know what their credit looks like yet. I just want to make sure that they have the income to support the loan. I don't know what their credit looks like yet. So you got to know your starting point with your buyer. And the starting point is first qualifying the lead and then qualifying the buyer. And now you'll know if it's going to be an immediate buyer, a 3-month buyer, a 6-month buyer. That's fine. It's a pipeline, because now we're going to have to get these forms, and some of you won't send it to me. And so this is why I do that little guilt trip. Can you believe when I ask a buyer to send me a copy of their driver's license, social security card, all they got to do is take a picture of it, yet they don't do that. So the hardest thing for me is helping people that don't want to help themselves. And so I kind of share the story with them, and so that they can picture themselves. Are you the lazy one that can't take a picture of your driver's license or security card, or are you going to be able to do it right now as soon as I get off the phone? So this is what I want to do, a little psychology, a little seed planting in their brain by sharing some stories about, I can't get people to do this, and I can't get people to do that. Can you believe this? For $10,000, I can't get them to take a class. So I kind of have a little limelight story, but what I'm really doing is setting seeds in their brain so that they remember this. Any questions about this quick 2 to 3 minute prepping of a buyer lead?
No, it makes sense.
All right. Anybody else? We're good. You're going to be spending money for leads. You want to prep them and use them and get them as quickly as you can. What happens for me? The first thing I want to do is call them. That's what I want to do. I'm on the phone. I'm going to reach them. What happens when we get an answering machine? What message are you going to leave? Are you going to leave a message? How many times will you call them before you realize it's probably a dead lead? And in this situation, you might not be getting any money back. You might be losing the money. Do we text them? Do we email them? Because remember, you got all this information. You got their email. You got their text. I won't buy the lead unless I can see that I have all 3 things there. So once again, if we look at this lead, I can see that I'm going to have a name. I'm going to have a phone number. I'm going to have an email address. If I'm missing any of this information, I'm not interested in the lead. Okay? I always taught you these 3 things. What makes a lead? Name, telephone number, email address. That's a lead. And so one of the reasons that I like this company is because they will collect this information before they try to sell me this lead. Otherwise, I'm not interested in it. All right. First name, last name, telephone number, email address. If this individual went ahead, and they can verify email addresses instantly. All right. So they can verify the email address. If this individual is willing to do this and fill out some information, then I'm happy. All right. Better lead. Here, Newtown, 150 to 200,000. This tells me that this is a weaker buyer right off the bat. All right. I'm not going to find too much in this price range in the Newtown area, but 200 to 250,000 in Philadelphia within the next 2 to 3 months. This is a better qualified lead. So you need to know if you want to buy the lead or not. Now, technically, I'm supposed to decline these leads that I'm not interested in to help the system. And so decline selected. All right, decline selected. Okay, boom. That's what I'm supposed to do. But I usually don't have the management skills on this one here. So I wouldn't be interested in Jersey. And so I would decline this. This way here, this company can now send that lead somewhere else. All right, instead of it being sitting in my box. But Collegeville, 150 to 200,000. I'm not going to find too much in Collegeville for that. So I'm going to decline this lead as well. So you need to understand, you don't want to be buying every single lead that comes across your field. Hatfield, 200 to 250. I'm not going to find anything under 300,000 in that area. It's no good. All right. You need to understand it. Chester. All right. This is okay. I could do that. Lansdowne, forget about it. 150 to 200,000. Come on, forget about it. It's not even going to happen. All right, unless I'm in the $300,000 price range. So now look at this one, Ashton, 500, 700,000. All right, is this a good lead? So far, so good. I'm liking it. I got name, I got telephone number, I got email address, I got the right realistic price range. 3 bedrooms, looking for 15 to 200,000 square feet. Boom. This is a buy lead. All right. Now, would you freak out because it's $500,000 to $750,000? You shouldn't. It's no different than a $100,000 lead. No different at all. Never even consider it to be different. $2 million property, $3 million property. It's no different than a $100,000 property. All right. The only difference that you have to deal with is attitude. Somebody might be more snobbish, more stuck up and think that they're better. But the process of selling the house doesn't change. The process is still the same. Okay. All right. It comes down to a good deed and a qualified buyer and seller. All right. But your clients, you might like them, you might not like them. It's the only difference. But the process doesn't change no matter what the price of the property is. All right. And don't think it is, because it isn't. All right. Here's another one that I would probably buy. Ben Sale, 250 to 300,000. We got an individual that understands the value and realizes, and she's looking for, because I have Diana first name, she's looking for 2 bedrooms. All right. This is a good lead. All right. Boom. Jump on it. So this, again, ladies and gentlemen, is called inbox real estate leads. There's a couple others that I use, but the point of this is what to do, how much that you should be paying for a lead. This is reasonable. $25 for a buyer lead, $35 for a seller lead. That's reasonable. But you don't want to buy every single lead, nor do you want a site that bombards you with all these leads. And most of them are a complete waste of your time. So that's the thing that you want to do when you're running a real estate business. You need leads unless you generate your own leads. Robin can generate leads. You all can generate leads if you have your marketing material put together and just simply put it out there. Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, plenty of sites, and then reply to them. Now, seller leads. All right. Same thing. How do we handle a seller lead? This is a little bit different. I'm going to break you down on my technique that I use, psychological techniques, and I'm going to show you, let me show this to you real quick. So I'll show you what I just did. Boom, boom, hold on, boom, boom, and let's do this. So again, as I say, I try not to demonstrate what I do, because I don't want it to sound like I'm bragging, and I certainly don't want to deflate you in any way. So I'm real careful. I try to be careful about this. And so many of you don't know what I do, and there's a reason for that, but I got to stay busy. So let me show you this real quick so you get an idea of what I just did. All right. So let's do this. Let's open this up, and then I'm going to show you what I want you to see in a second. So now here's what I want you to understand. When I'm working with a seller, a potential seller, I like to do this. All right. It's a 1 page. All right. And I grab it. I'll show you. We use the same 3 sites that I've already taught you, but we're going to do it anyway. I'll grab a picture. This is just a simple Word doc. All right. I'll snap a picture of the property, put it there. What I believe the value of their property is, how I got the average valuation, how I got the Zillow, estimate and how I got this low sell score, high sell score. So these are listings that I just took. I want you to see this right here. So I took all this from one client, 1218, 1220 Pratt Street, 4943 Duffield, 1515, 1519 Fulbright Street, 1200 Arrett, 1217 Arrett. Just got him to sign all the contracts on all these, almost all of them. He didn't do Adams and he didn't do the Castor Avenues. He did do the Harrison and he didn't do Duffield, but he did the Pratt, he did the Fulbrights, and he gave me the Arrett Streets. So he gave me 7 listings. And those 7 listings came over $2 million in the 7 because he didn't list all the properties that he has with me. And it's a doctor, but I've been courting him for about 2 months. And then finally, last week, we came to the office and finalized everything. So it doesn't happen instantly. And so I sent him out this. I gave him what I believe the value was of each one of their properties. All right. And this helps me to show that, and also notice every one of these are rentals. I already know that all their rental license are active, right? It did all this, know how to do it. It's very, very easy. So all these are multifamily properties. None of them are single family properties. They're all multifamily properties. And I think altogether, we're looking at 28 units out of the 7 properties. All right. And Harrison, this was the only single family property. Oh, it's not. It's 2 units. All right. And it's legal. It has a rental license. So they were all multifamily properties. So this is what I like to do. I like to just do 1 page with the property picture, what you believe the value of the property is, and these other items that we might need. So I'll show you how to do that in a second. So $2 million worth of listings. Let's do this real quick. Share my screen, stop sharing my screen with you, and then show you this. And then I'm going to go into exactly how I landed this deal. And it was very, very easy. And you're going to do the exact same thing. All right. So let's do this. Let's open this up. And I'll tell you about what happened real quick at the table. Because again, as I said, you might have to deal with their arrogance. This is a doctor who owns a lot of real estate. But how did he end up with all this real estate? Mom and dad passed away. All right. And left it to them. So you're not so brilliant when you have property that's left to you. But in any event, let's talk about it. So let's do this. So we're sitting down at the table. One chat. Thank you very much. And I want to go over the 7 properties, the Pratt Street, the Fulbright Street, the Arrett Streets. And notice it's the estate of Rita Visco. My client is David Visco, the son. His father passed away a long time ago. The mother was the owner of all the property. She just passed away. And now they want to settle the estate and sell the property. So for all these properties, it will come to about $2,214,583. Notice what my commission is going to be right here at 5%. I couldn't get much more than 5%, but I did. He wanted to do 4. I wanted to do 7. We negotiated, and I pretty much told him, you need a weaker agent at 4%. If you want me to protect your interest, I will be willing to do 5%. But if you want to go 4%, then you really need a weaker agent. You need a cheap sofa. I'm not a cheap sofa. All right. And he liked that, and he's a doctor. He appreciated that I wasn't a yes man. Oh, I'll do it for 4. Sure. I'll take it. No, not me. Would I walk away? That's what he asked me. Right there in front of Tao, sitting at the table. Would I walk away? And I said I would. Again, as I said, if you're looking for cheap, you're looking for a yes, sir, kind of guy, I'm not your guy. So yeah, I would walk away at 4%. If you want me to represent your interest and make sure that we manage these properties and get these properties sold, then I'm not a cheap sofa. You're looking for a cheap sofa? Go find a cheap sofa. I'm not a cheap sofa. And so he liked that, and we negotiated our 5%. Go ahead.
Quick question. How'd you get those listings?
I'm going right over it right now.
Okay, good.
Literally showing you my leads of how I get my leads and so forth, but I'm doing this, so I'm going to go over all this. And sphere of influence, again, He called me out of the clear blue. Called me. And you know why he called me? Let me share this with you. See this right here? Guido's, this is Castor Avenue. Hold on 1 second. Hold on 1 second. Stop sharing. Let me show you this. And so this fell in my lap. This fell in my lap. All right. Boom. Share my screen with you. Hold on 1 second. Now, this is Castor Avenue. All right. 6728 Castor Avenue. So they got a store down the street from our office. All right. We're 6044 Castor Avenue. So they're like 7-8 blocks. The only reason he called us is because we're on Castor Avenue. I picked up the phone. He called my number and a conversation began. I told you real estate's all about conversation. All about. I didn't know he had all these properties. I didn't know. You know what he said? My mother died and I need to settle the estate. And I was wondering if you can help me with this. And that's how the conversation started. All right. But I didn't do anything. They called me only because of our office. All right. So that's how we got this lead. So it started out as a conversation, as all real estate does, and led into potentially $3 million worth of property. I already got $2.5 million of it under contract. Now, you won't see it in the MOS. I think we already have these things sold. These are going to be private deals. And that's another thing that about me. You don't see a lot of my work because not everything makes it into the MOS. Sometimes, I try to be teaching you this over and over again, your sphere of influence. Your sphere of influence. Before I ever put a property in the MOS, I'm going to send it out to my database. And that's usually what I do. So I practice what I preach. And so a lot of my properties, like these, all these properties that you see here, probably will not make it into the MOS. As a matter of fact, I think we already got them sold, to be honest with you. But in any event, because they got income coming in. But what we're going to do is some of these properties have not been managed well. We got to get some tenants out. We got to do some renovation on some of the properties. And then the value of these properties will be even greater. So me and Tao are talking about, do we hold off a little bit and get them all rented out first and give it greater cap rates? Or do we sell them now? And I even talked to David about doing owner financing, selling all these properties under a note, which he was receptive to. Conversation. So again, Malik, you asked how I got this. Here's how I got it. They got a business on Castor Avenue. We have a business on Castor Avenue. He just happened to call the office. That was it. I didn't do any lead generation. I didn't do anything except my number's out there. This is why I say it's so important to have your number out there. Have a Google My Business page. That's the big one. Google My Business page, because now you show up on Google. It's very important. All right. And it's free. I said it 1,000 times, but my number is out there. And he just called out of the clear blue and said, look, my mother passed away. I need to handle this estate. Can you help me probate the estate? That's how this conversation started 2 months ago. And conversation led to $2 million worth of listings. See how this works, ladies and gentlemen? All right.
Wow.
Yes. And I didn't even do any lead generation, but the numbers in this stratosphere, because my number and my name is out there, somebody might just decide to call because there's a name and number. And that's exactly what happened here. I can't take any credit for it other than being in the right place at the right time. As I said, that would happen in the real estate business. I said it would happen. It does happen. Everything I've been trying to teach you is true, true, true. Just got to believe me. And here it is. So now, once again, and here's what happened. I threw this in front of him at the table. And you know what he said to me? I do a lot of real estate. I'm real familiar with all these forms. I already know what it's all about. Boom. And I said immediately, well, I don't want to insult your intelligence any longer. Let's get everything signed and let's get started. That's what I did. That's what I did. And that's and because we had this meeting prepped, I already had everything in a DocuSign. Let me show this to you so that you understand this as well. Because if you're going to meet a client at the office, you might want to, and let's go to my spam and notice here. I got to share my screen with you. Hold on, share my screen with you, and here, and I put these here in my spam. Look, notice that I have every file. Let me just open up one. Let's do Fulbright Street. Notice that I already have all the forms. So open up the listing contract. All right. It's all filled out. Everything's done. All right. So I'm ready. I can send him emails with every form and let's see, view. And so all filled out, all ready to go. But I also sent him everything in DocuSign as well. So notice that I have everything. I didn't have the price yet. I figured we would have to negotiate the price, but we didn't. The prices that I gave him, that I showed you, we went with. Oh, by the way, let me show you one more thing before we forget. Very important. Before we go any further, stop sharing my screen. Hold on 1 second. And over the years, you learn these things, ladies and gentlemen, but I want you to see something here. I want this. I want this, and I want this. All right. And where is it? This. And very important that you see this. Okay. Share this with you. Look at my prices. 276,702. 301,706. 193,818. 274,442. 199. Look at these last numbers. Here's what you need to understand. Many people in different cultures, Israeli, Chinese, will never, ever make an offer on a property with a round number. So if this was 500, 700, or $377,000, superstition, they would never make the offer on a property. They would not do it. And so you need to understand that some of our cultural buyers look at these things on the pricing. So I price these things in a way that I understand different cultures. And so you need to understand that different cultures will not. 18, the number 18 at the end of a price is good luck. Israelis, the number 18 is very significant in the Israeli community. They will jump on this in a heartbeat. But write this down so you know. 18 is a Hebrew number. And if your price ends in 18, it's good luck. And chances are you might get more activity on that. But write this down. These are Chinese numbers. It's only 4 of them. And if this price ended in an 8, a 2, a 6, or a 9, all right, notice that, a 2, a 6, an 8, or a 9, then almost every Chinese buyer and investor will call me and talk to me about it because of little superstitions in different cultures that I pick up on and learn as we go along. So for you, ladies and gentlemen, when you price a property, you want an unorthodox number, but you want that last number for the Chinese culture to be a 2, 6, 8, or 9, or for the Hebrew, Israeli, 18. 18 is the magic number for them. Notice these things, pick up on these things when you list the property. And I explained to my client why I told them these prices. If I would have went with now 457, 500, I would not have gotten any of these potential Chinese buyers or any of these potential Hebrew Israeli buyers. All right. So you need to understand birth numbers and so forth like that. But a little tip there. Okay. So now, as I was going over all these properties, all 7 properties at 5%, I had all the numbers. He goes, look, I've already been through these, so you want to brag, you want to show off, you want to act like Mr. Big Stuff. All right. So I immediately turned that around. I said, well, look, I don't want to insult your intelligence anymore. Let's get you sign everything. I can print everything out right now, or we could do a DocuSign. Which one do you want to do? I had them both ready for this meeting, as I just showed you. I had my emails where I can print everything out and they can sign it. And I had the DocuSign all prepared. We went with the DocuSign and click, 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 click away. All 7 properties listed in 10 minutes. All right. $2 million worth of properties. And even if I only get half of this,
You're still winning.
yes, sir.
Still
Yes, sir.
winning.
All right.
Wow.
Exactly. And
Wow.
it's just because of what I've been trying to teach you over and over again. Get your name and number out there. And don't be changing your phone number. Don't be changing your phone number, because that's kind of ridiculous. Now all that marketing that you did is no good. It's going to a number that doesn't work anymore. But because my number's out there, I told you about Google My Business. And if you don't have a Google My Business yet, then again, don't be blaming me. And you ain't making no damn money. The first thing I taught you was that Google My Business. 1,000 times I said it, because people are going to Google. They're going to Google real estate near me, real estate office near me. That's all they're going to do. And guess what pops up? Because you are using Google My Business and you're advertising, your algorithm is going to be there when people just put in real estate office near me, real estate near me, real estate in 19124, 19149. Boom. Your number's going to pop up because you're using a Google My Business, like I've been trying to teach you over and over to do. That's exactly how I ended up with $2 million worth of real estate here. Right?
I have a question.
Yes.
In my Uber Lyft driving, I picked, this was 3 weeks ago, 2.5, 3 weeks ago, picked up a guy, and he says, he was a rapper from North Philly. They had a record out about 25 years ago. I don't know. I didn't know the guy. So I picked him up and he says, hey man, you look like Steve Harvey. I said to him, I get that a lot. He says, I'm gonna put that on my page on Facebook. I mean, on Instagram. He puts it on his page in Instagram, and that got over 150,000 views and growing. How can I turn that and monetize that or market it to my advantage? I don't know the internet game like that. How can I? Because it's growing. I mean, my sister from California called me. My niece from California. They're like, hey, Uncle, how can I work that to my advantage?
First question: do you have an Instagram account?
I do, but I don't really use it because I don't know how to use it. I just have pictures of, my kids and graduation, that kind of stuff.
But you just saw how powerful Instagram is. Really powerful, ladies and gentlemen, in the real estate arena. Instagram, out of all of them, Instagram #1.
So as I drive around, the little kids, I stop at a light. They say, hey, or they call me Steve Harvey. They say, hey, there go that boy Steve Harvey. And I've had that a couple of times, many times. Even this morning going to the gym, this guy said, oh man, I thought you were Steve Harvey. I said, oh my God, I gotta work that to my advantage. What can I do?
I would work it to your advantage as well, because it's a gift. It's a gift. And why not ride off of the Steve Harvey coattail? So first things first, you got your Instagram. Now you got all these 150 different responses, likes. You can also click on each and every one of them and send them an invite to you. Come to my Steve Harvey page. So you can literally click onto every one of those 150.
Right.
Click right onto them. It'll take you to their Instagram and send them an invite to come to you. Build up your Instagram. How do you think when he sent that out, I bet he's got over 1,000 in his Instagram and only 150 of them responded. Yeah, this dude does look like Steve Harvey. He really does, and then why not use that to your advantage? So now piggyback. off of him
Uh-huh.
and take every one of them who responded. Because you said he's got like 150. You wouldn't have known that unless you saw it.
We got 150,000 views and growing, and hundreds of comments.
Every one of them should be, hey, why don't you come to mine? Come to my Instagram. Come, you know.
You can comment as well on his post. Say, hey, thanks for the shout out. If you need any real estate needs, look me up. Here's my number, blah, blah, blah. Or put a flyer up there as
Now,
a
can I
response
page
to his
together
post.
and direct him? Can I put a page together and you know, real estate and then listings and stuff that I might get and stuff? Can I do that?
Yes.
You can do a simple page with your name and it's realty. And that's just as simple as it can be. And you can either post on his page because they're still looking,
Right.
or you can, like Warren said, invite everyone who responded to your real estate page that you create.
I do have to approve it, and I would prefer that you use the gold and the black. I'm going to be sending you out the cards and everything. Keep our traditional gold and black going. I really like it. Robin did a great job. Look at Robin's. Go to Robin's social media and see what she's doing. See what Arthur's doing, and kind of do a little copying and pasting, because it's just basically your name and the information, your license number, the telephone number. So that's basically going to be the same, but that's what Robin's saying. And see how we're working together? This is what I really like. And I love Robin jumping in.
Can I get your number, Robin, or give you my number? And I need to get with.
Sure. Yeah, no problem. I use the Chat GPT. Is that what it's called, Warren?
I love Chat GPT. I love it.
That's
Yes.
how my flyer got created.
I love
I
it.
told them what I wanted, and they put out a whole spiel for things, and I took out what I didn't need. And then I went to Fiverr and told them the information that I needed. I gave them the logo to put on, and they designed it. I just wanted a modest home. I didn't want $1 million home on the picture. I just wanted a modest home. And that's how I got my
Where
flyer
can I
created.
Where's that at? Where can I find that?
See, now stop here, because this is what kind of upsets me, because I gave you all of these at our last meeting. I gave you every one of these websites. I gave it to you. And now you're asking me where to find them. But go ahead, Robin, continue. I'll put it together again real quick for everybody. Go ahead.
No,
Yeah,
just
Chat GPT is just a website. You just
Chat
put
GPT. This is an artificial intelligence.
yeah.
And I said you need to use and play with Chat GPT, and Robin actually did it at our last meeting and found that she kind of likes it a lot. And you so there's
I utilize it for my postings as well, as far as the wording for my properties. I use Chat GPT. It created the wording for my flyer. Fiverr is an app.
That's the next one, Malik. Fiverr, Fiverr.
I'm familiar with all of those.
Okay.
I just want to see her flyer. That's all. Where can I see her flyer?
My website.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll pull it up for you. But yep. And then you should be able to just go and put Robin's name in your Facebook account, and it should pop right up where you can see what Robin's doing. All right.
Yeah, look at my business account.
Yeah.
It won't come up on my it's not on my personal account. Right, Warren?
Yes, it has to be on the business account. And now I told Robin to do this. Notice that you can see the Fiverr watermark here.
And that was because I wanted him to approve it before I okayed it with Fiverr for the final thing, in case he told me to make some changes.
Yeah. And so, yes. And then once she approves it and purchase it, then this watermark will be taken out. And now this is what Robin did. So she put this on her account, her Facebook page. All right. This is just one of them that she put together. And so once again, I'll blow it up. Welcome to your first home buying experience, guiding you every step of the way to your new home. Are you tired of renting? Are you ready to become a homeowner? And ChatGPT basically did all of this for her. She just copied and pasted what she liked.
Right.
Recommendations of ChatGPT and put together this beautiful piece. She put together several beautiful pieces that I like. I love the way that she incorporated the logo. Look at this. This is actually perfect, ladies and gentlemen. So a nice profile picture, her name, her license number, beautiful, her telephone number, her email address. That is right there. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Then the requirements, the logo, the company address, the company telephone number. I'm sorry, you just have to do it because somebody will complain and say Robin's not in compliance. So you need this second part. But Robin was smart. She put her picture, she put her name first. People see this first. And I'm okay with this. And it's in compliance. I approved it. It has the logo, the business address, telephone number. Robin did really, really good. And the black and gold, it really works. Really does work. All right. Buying your first home can be exciting and overwhelming. I'm here to guide you every step of the way. And notice what I just said at the meeting. Notice what Robin's doing. She's kind of pre-qualifying using the process. All right. All right. And so this is what Robin's doing. So her marketing is not only getting her name out there, but it's good lead generation as she's kind of prepping those who call her to already kind of understand what you're going to need to do.
Now, my next step is to get them copied and send out to the apartment buildings like we talked about at the last meeting. This
And
will be my flyer that goes out to them to monthly for lead generations.
Exactly. That is exactly right. That's old school, but that works for me. Because if you get to those apartments, and we talked about this, you only need 1,200 flyers for the whole year, 100 flyers a month. No more, no less. The flyers will say the same thing month after month, and you will make sure that you don't miss one mailing 1 month. That's why you only want to do 100 to stay within your budget. All right. And then those 100 tenants will be Robin's. Every one of those 100 tenants will know Robin only because they get her flyer month after month after month. And now she's planting the seed in their brain. They know Robin. They know her picture. They see her. Month after month after month, they see her. They hear about her. Month after month after month. And then finally, one day, they pick up the phone and they call Robin. And it would never happen. And then Robin lands $2 million worth of deal like I just did. Only because her name and her numbers out there in the stratosphere. All right. Again, as I said, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to go over this with you one more time so that you understand it. First things first. As you can see, I'll just go over this. The very first thing that you want, ladies and gentlemen, is a Google My Business account. I'm telling you for the 10,000th time, if you have not set up a Google My Business account, what the hell are you waiting for? That's the first thing that you should do. The second thing that you should do is, like Robin's going to do, is create a flyer. So you have this website that I've given you with all of these templates that you can use anytime you want. All right. And all you got to do is edit the design and put in what you want. Put your picture in there, put your information, house for sale, open house. It's all copy and paste. Put the logo in there. All right. 2 of them. There's another one. Take that in, take it out. So understand that you can real quickly copy and paste on these flyers. All right. Go back. And yes, leave the page. And so leave. You got thousands and thousands and thousands of templates. Remember also that these templates are for everything, for your Instagram, your TikTok, your Facebook. All right. View all of them. All right. So if you want to do social media, plenty of them. Here they all are here. Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, Twitter, they're all here. Tumblr, everyone's here. All right. I've given this to you 1,000 times. You want to do flyers. That's what Robin wants to do. All right. Real estate. Put in real estate, boom. And then now we have all of these templates. I can go on and on and on and on. All right. And again, the black and gold is really what you want to do. So now that's what Robin's going to do. Then I gave you my printer. I told you Roger is the cheapest in the business and the best. For 7 cents, for 1,000 double-sided, not single-sided, double-sided, $140 for the whole year. Robin's got her flyers for the whole year. She actually needs 200 more of these to have it for the whole year. And for another $200, I guess what? So $30 for 100. So again, maybe, $50 more, $200. Robin's got her flyers for the whole year. Double-sided. One side could be the lender. She's also got a credit repair business. All right. So one side could be for one company, the other side for the other company. Remember, I do have to approve everything before you get it made. And also, I talked to you about the every door delivery. And Robin will most likely do this because she's not going to get into those apartment complexes. No other way. She's going to need the mail service to do this. I wonder if this video is working now. No, it's still not working. They changed it. All right. So, but again, the every door delivery is how she's going to get those 100 flyers every month into that apartment complex that she chooses. I gave these to you, ladies and gentlemen, and I also gave you Chat GPT. I did this at our last meeting. Robin listened and put together a lot of this stuff from our last meeting and created those flyers that I just showed you that I approved. I only showed you one. Robin has others that I approved. And this is what I'm trying to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, that if you just do the simple things that I'm telling you, everything here is free so far to kind of do, unless you want to buy the flyers, and you can't get them any cheaper than Roger. So again, I gave these to you. I'll be happy to give them to you again. But if you're running a business, you need to have your telephone number out there. And if you don't have a Google My Business page set up yet, I'm sorry, I don't know what the hell you're waiting for. Because you know as well as I do, when people go looking for things, they Google. They Google. And Instagram, you better have an Instagram. You got Facebook, you can have Instagram, okay? They don't own them both, but Instagram, my phone, sorry about that. All right. Instagram is a different generation compared to Facebook. Facebook is your 30-year-olds, 40-year-olds, for the most part. TikTok is your younger crowd. Pinterest, your female crowd. LinkedIn, your business crowd. So you got to know what each social media does and if you want to hit them or not. All right. So keep these things in mind. But if you're not putting out post after post after post after post, if you're not doing one Google My Business post a day, or at least 2 or 3 a week, then you don't exist. You're not out there in the algorithms. And so again, as I said, you want things to fall in your lap. The only way it's going to happen is your information out there. Real estate near me, and your number pops up only because of that Google My Business page that I told you to set up. You would not have had this deal fall in your lap if you didn't just simply do the things I told you to do. All right. It's like getting these people to go to a seminar and they won't do it for $10,000. I try to get you guys to run a business, but you won't do it until you do, until the time comes, and then you do. But can't say I didn't tell you how to do it. All right. Now, back to your seller leads. All right. How do I land a seller? Because I told you how I landed the buyer. And then we'll get into your deals, because some of you have some deals that need help with. And so we'll get into that. But, and I need to go over these forms with the MOS now as well. So Once again, I buy a seller lead. Here are the 3 things that you need to know that you should have always. Ladies and gentlemen, let's close this out. Let's close this out. Let's open up this. And then once again, let me open this up here. My real estate business. I had to restart the computer. There it is. And let's share my screen with us. All right, hold on. And this is the first thing that you should do. If you're going to be working with seller leads like Arthur does, Arthur kind of just like really just focuses on the seller leads, then share my screen with you. Here's what you need to do to put those pages together that I showed you that I do. All right. Let's do this. Hold on one second. Boom. And let's stop. Take that out. And let's just open up my first one. Boom. You sign. Let's open that up. And then we will share the screen. Hold on one second. Let that open up. And oh, DocuSign. I'm sorry. I don't want DocuSign. I want Bright. Let's do it Bright. I want Bright. All right. Very good. All right. Let's close this out. All right. And now let's do this. All right. Share. Let's stop sharing. And let's make sure I got the right screen here. And here we are here. And there's my website. Boom. Okay. Boom. Boom. Now. And you know what I need to do? Let's do this. All right, first things first. And yeah, good. I don't have to worry about it. It'll stay there. Okay, first things first. You're Bright. I told you need Bright. Everybody has Bright, so that's fine. So I guess they're due for repayment. Your quarterly. Boost your success, market the knowledge. Boom. First site is Bright. Your second site will be Remind, as I told you. You guys should already know all this if you're going to be working with seller leads. And your third site will be Atlas. Okay. These are your 3 sites that you need. Bright, MOS, Remind. You cannot open up Remind unless your Bright's opened. You cannot have Remind unless you are a member of Bright. So you need your Bright open before you can open up your Remind. Otherwise, it'll boot you back to Bright to open it up. And then your Atlas. Okay? So let's just take one of the properties that I showed you. Let's do 1218 Pratt Street. Okay? 1218 Pratt. The first thing I want to do, so now you got a lead. Okay, you got a seller lead. You're about to call them, but the first thing you want to do before you call them is go to these 3 sites. And now that address is 1218 Pratt. So what I want to do is go to public records, put in 1218 Pratt. Pratt. I see I have 2 matches here. I open it up. And I don't want the one in Baltimore. I want the one in Philadelphia, obviously. So I'll open this up, and now I can see Guida and Rita Visco are the owners of the property. We now know that they passed away, and it's the estate. But we wouldn't know that just yet. We'll find that out when we talk to them. All right, but we got the address. All right. And so now look how easy it is. See what it says? View comparable properties. Now, you get this by doing your public search because they're not listed yet. We're trying to get a new listing, okay? So now I'm going to hit View Comparables. And what I want to do when I do View Comparables is I want to start with the price. Notice that I can click on Sale Amount. And when I click on the sale amount, it's going to give me the lowest to the highest, all right? And now I already know these here, 78,000 all the way up there, probably not going to be for me. But look what we have right now. 135, 126, 224. Okay. What I want to do is take this one right here and I'm going to eliminate these. They're not really going to apply. They're junk properties. So when I remove these, watch what happens to the numbers there. So again, 224, 126, 135. I remove them, and now look what will happen with my numbers. Did I remove them? Yes. Okay. So notice that the median price went up a lot, but the high price still is 224 because that's what we can see. The highest one is 224. So, but now look at my numbers. I'm between 113 and 224. Right? So now I have something to work with here. Now I go to my next site. Remember, our address is 1218 Pratt Street, 1218 Pratt. Now I go to Remine. And in Remine, I'm going to do a search. I'm going to put in or start putting in the address 1218 Pratt. And notice it should pop up, which it did. I'll click right onto it. And here's how I get my picture to use. I'll copy it. All right. Copy the image and put it in a Word file. Now I have the picture to start that page that I showed you. All right. Notice what I also have here. Most of the time, I got a price. $244,764. Notice how Remine understands the psychology of the numbers as well. All right. So now if I look at this, I got Bright that didn't give me no higher than 224. And a lot of agents will only use Bright, which sucks. But when I went to Remine, Remine gave me 244,764. Now I have two different prices to work with. And one more thing I want to do, and this is how you get Zoom estimates, is I want to put 1218 Pratt into Atlas. And watch what happens here. This, ladies and gentlemen, you see this 152,700? This is Zillow. So anytime you get a Zillow estimate, it's going to match the assessed value. That's a Zillow price. That's where Zillow gets their numbers from. All right, public records. And they use the tax records, and that's where they come up with this Zestimate, 152.7. So now I have these three numbers. All right. I got 174 medium price range to 224. Remine, I'm liking better. Remine's giving me a better number. And look at this. The very first one should be an insurance company. The insurance company is willing to insure this property all the way up to 352. All right. So see how now I have some different numbers. All right. And here's what I would do. I will now say I have properties currently listed. All right. These are properties that might be currently listed. And you could do that if you want. All right. Find properties. Let's do a search. And let's do 19124 because that is the zip code there. 19124. Let's do that. I got 118 matches. I'll do my results. And what I want to do is now go to map. I'll go to map. And what I want to do is zoom in close to my property on Pratt Street. Here's Pratt Street. All right. Here's where I am. And I might just want to take these properties right here. So what I'm going to do is hit my circle, draw radius, click right on there, and then draw out right there. And just try to keep these properties right here. That's it. All right. Just the properties real close. And now let's take a look at these ones right here. All right. So these are here. I can either click onto each and every one of them, or I could go back to the criteria and see if I can get my list of these properties here. But what I could do here, again, just click onto each and every one of them. Let's open it up and let's just scroll around. 209, 170, 99, 89, 130. So these are properties currently listed. These will be competition of what my property is going to be. So now I can show the person I'm going to call what the average price of the properties that are currently listed. All right. I also can change the criteria and do sold. closed within the last 180 days. Again, results, and now check this out. Going back to my map, I'm still in the same radius. I'm not all over the zip code. I'm still in the same radius. Now I can start seeing what properties sold for in the last 90 days, 180 days. And so if I go back to that criteria, notice that my criteria is 180 days. Let's change it to 90 days. All right. Now I got 18 matches. This here, see how I got this? I have this I can use. All right. Now let's do this. Hit beds. And let's say that I already know that my property's 3 bedrooms. All right. So let's take out all the 2 bedrooms. Get rid of that. Boom, 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 boom. So that we can clean this up a little bit. Remove them. All right. Refine, discard them. And now these are my 3 and 4 bedroom properties. Now I go back to my map. I can see it here. I can see what these prices are. And I go back to the criteria. It's even easier here to see the results there. All right. So there's the results of these 18 properties. And now I have price range. All right. Let's put them in order from 110 to 228. So now I have properties that have sold. That's what the appraiser is going to use. These are the big numbers. The appraiser is using these numbers here. So this is giving us more realistic value of the property. And then properties that are currently for sale, that's our competition. And if you want, you could do this, and then you could put together a CRM for them if you wanted to. We don't need to do that. I just need to know these numbers here. So I'm going to say that I got a median price of about 200,000. All right. Median price of properties that have sold. All right. I have Remind tell me 244. All right. And Atlas is telling me for tax purposes 152. And I always like to click onto this little link here to see if we have any back taxes and if we have any rental license. So view the tax balance. I know what the taxes are, 2,000. No taxes are owed. Beautiful. And then I always like to go down here and see if we have any license or anything with that property as well. So what I'll do is I'll go to license and inspections, and I'll click right onto this certification right here. And let's see if there's any rental license. Okay, so what we're looking for is license, and I don't see any business license. Oh, yes, I do. One business license. Let's take a look at this. And in May of 2004, it was a rental license. Obviously, oh, good. Look at this. It's active. To my surprise, this property has a rental license that's active, and it's been active since 2004. And what did I do? This is one of mine. This is one of the 7. And obviously now I have the license number. I know that the rental license is active for 2 units of this property. This kind of changes the value a little bit because all the prices that I'm looking at are for single family properties. All right. But this is now a duplex. And what did I come up with value on this one for? This is 1218 Pratt Street. What did I tell him? I gave him on that form that I showed you. 1218, you can't see it, but I'll show it to you in a second. 1218. So let's just do this. I'll show it to you real quick. And so 1218 Pratt, here it is. Okay, check this out. Stop. And now check this out. All right, so let's do this again. This, hold on one second. This and this, right? And this. Now, boom. Look what I gave him on 1218 Pratt. As you saw, our numbers are coming up in the $200,000 price range for single family properties. Oh, shoot, should have done that. Okay, let's see, got that. So 200,000, Remind 244, Atlas, boom. All right, is giving me 152. And using these 3 numbers, 200, 244, and 152, those 3 numbers, I came up with a number in between, And I told him that his property for this would be 183,432 in between those numbers. All right. Notice now I took the picture from Remind. I put it here. I used the average. See this 102 to 251? Where did I get that? I got it from Remind. And Remind gave me these numbers here. These numbers have changed in the 2 months that I've been courting this person. These numbers have changed. This is what the numbers look like 2 months ago, 102 to 251. This is what the numbers look like right now. Thank goodness I used the numbers for a couple months ago, because otherwise this price of 183 would have been higher. But he signed the contract. So now I got the picture. I got my estimate. I used the average valuation from Remind, average valuation, right? I copy and paste that. Zillow is your estimate from Atlas, 152.7. And what did I come up with? 158.9. A little bit different, but usually the number is Zillow number. All right. And so, boom. Currently, it has a low sell score. Where did I get that from? Remind. Remind will give us this. So it will tell us if it has a high score or a low score, which will affect the value as well. So now I have this. I have properties that sold for 200, properties that are currently on the market. Let's see what's currently on the market. Let's really do this real quick, and now I'm going to make the call. But I have to do a little research when it comes to sellers before I make this call. So let's take this off, and let's just do active. And now, again, what do we have? Results. Let's do the results here again. All right, boom. Active and criteria. Active, we got that. Active, and did I change this? Nope, still the same. Everything's still the same. Okay, results, I'm sorry. Boom. And now, if I look at my map, these are properties for sale in my radius of my property. And what do we have in that number? All right. Let's do it again. Results. What are our numbers? Let's do this price-wise from 189. Look, these are properties that are currently on the market. We saw that properties have sold up to 200,000, but properties that are currently on the market are slightly under that. So now I have these numbers. I got 170 properties that are currently on the market, 200 for properties that have sold, and my estimate of 183. I came up with these numbers using these variables. So now that I've done this, and I'm not going to put this together until after I call them, but now I have my numbers. So here's what I'm going to do. We got a seller lead now. All right. Seller lead. And the 3 numbers I have, 170 currently on the market, 200 that sold, and 183 for my numbers. Okay. Now I got this lead, a seller lead that I just purchased. I'm going to call them, and here's my pitch to a potential seller lead. You ready? All right. So, Mr. Smith, I'm calling about your property. I have the numbers for you on that 1218 Pratt Street. Are you ready for these numbers? This is it.
Yes, sir.
My pitch. This is my pitch. All right. Short and simple. Mr. Bisco, Mr. Smith, I'm calling about that property 1218 Pratt Street. I have the numbers for you. I was calling to see if you're ready for these numbers. That's it. Notice this psychological, oh, what? Numbers? I said, yes, I understand that you're trying to get value on a property. You might be considering selling the property sometime near future, and you wanted to know the value of the property. And so I'm calling to give you those numbers. Are you ready for those numbers? There's my pitch. And this thing works like a charm, ladies and gentlemen. All right? Because I'm not asking them for anything. I'm calling to tell them I'm ready to give them something. I'm ready to give them the value of their property. I understand that somewhere along the line, you might be thinking about selling down the line. 3 months, 6 months, that's fine. But I'm calling to give you the numbers now so that you have that, so that you'll be ready for it. You ready? All right, what do you got? What numbers here? I say right now, your competition, properties that are currently on the market are averaging about $170,000 in your immediate area, properties that are currently on the market. I do have properties that have sold in the last 90 days, all the way up to 200,000. And I believe, without even seeing your property, that your property could probably be in the 183 range. I think you could probably get about 183,000 for your property if you put it on the market. But these are just based on the numbers that I have based on other properties. Is this 183 something that you were thinking about for the value of your property? See what I did again? So now what I just did is I called to tell them I got the numbers, not asking them for anything. I got the numbers for you. Let me know if you're ready for the numbers. Then finally, because they're saying numbers, I'm not interested in selling. I got a bad lead. My apologies. I got the wrong information. I will not disturb you anymore. Somewhere along the line, I thought somebody told me that you were interested in the value of your property. If you're not interested in the value of your property, I will not disturb you anymore. And I wait for an answer. No, I'm not interested. I'm not selling. Thank you. Enjoy your day. I'll take you off my list. And now I want my money back on this lead. All right. So this is how I kind of qualify the lead for a seller by telling them I got the numbers for them. Right. Now I'll give them right now, Mrs. Smith, currently in your area, properties that are on the market, your competition are going for about $170,000. Properties that have sold in the last 90 days, I got properties all the way up to about 200,000. This means I got about 183,000 for the value of your property. Is this something that you had in mind, that you believe the value of your property is there? And I wait for an answer on this. And now they say, oh, I thought I can get more. Oh, yeah, it's not a bad price. And I say, well, based on the numbers, that's what I'm coming up with. Really, what I would like to do is I would like to come out, take a look at the property and see if it's stronger or weaker. Can we get more for the property than a 183? When will be a good time that I could just stop out, take a look at the property and give you a better estimate on the value for the numbers? That's what I do. That's what I do, ladies and gentlemen. I don't ask. Now, Arthur's got a different routine because Arthur gets his contract signed without them ever even seeing him. So Arthur's got a different pattern. I'm just giving you mine. So what you want to do is develop your own. Arthur, he gets contract signed. We're going to go over a $600,000 property that he might have right in a minute. But I just want to go over lead generation with everybody today and make sure that you understand lead generation. And if you do buy leads, how much you should be paying for them and what to do after you get a buyer lead or a seller lead. You need to quickly qualify the lead, quickly qualify the clients, and then use a little psychology to land the deals. Any question on what I do for seller leads?
Oh, you're
By the way, I can't hear you, Malik. If you're talking to us, I can't hear you. You're muted. Right? So not sure if you're talking to somebody in the background or not, but you're muted. Arthur, go ahead.
No, I was saying I like your tactic. That was, it's kind of somewhat similar to how I do it. I don't do get the value before I call first. I don't do that first because I feel like, I don't know, if I got a list of people that I'm calling, that's a lot to be doing the value for each and every one of them before I call. I don't even know if they going to be interested, if somebody going to answer. So I do that after I call. But no, it's somewhat similar to how I do it. It really is.
Yeah.
Straight to the point.
Yeah. And Arthur gets contracts signed. He's successful. He doesn't even meet them, doesn't need to go out there. And it's been working for Arthur. And so, but there are times they will have to go out. But so far, Arthur's been getting contracts signed. And Arthur's working with sellers. Robin has been working with sellers, and Robin's working with buyers. Because remember, you can't just do one without the other. It doesn't work that way. Because Arthur's got a seller. What is Arthur supposed to do? He's supposed to find a buyer for the property. So if you don't work with buyers and sellers, then you don't have a complete business. If you don't use your right hand and your left hand, then you're handicapped. All right. And so understand this. You need your buyers, you need your sellers to have a complete business. And if you have what we call a pipeline of potential buyers, and you have your sphere of influence like Malik's going to be doing, Malik's is about to piggyback off of somebody's Instagram and have all these potential buyers. Now, are they buyers or are they just commenting on his looks? Well, they're probably commenting on his looks, but he's going to cultivate them to realize that I'm the Steve Harvey of real estate. Now, you can't use Steve Harvey's name. You got to understand that. You can't use Steve Harvey's name. Otherwise, that'll get you into copyright infringements. You don't have permission. So you have to be real careful about that. But understand that you're a business and you don't have his permission to be using his name. So yes, they'll have to be careful about how you handle that. But again, you could handle it in many ways. Who do I look like to you? I'm the real estate agent, and tell me, and that's a good question here. Tell me, as your next real estate agent, who do I look like to you? That's a great way of getting comments and getting people to start replying to you without you using Steve Harvey's name, because you can't do it, but you can get them to say, you know what? You look like Denzel Washington to me. You look like Morgan Freeman to me. All right. And now you got all these comments, and now you can start cultivating them into potential real estate leads. Have you ever thought about using Morgan Freeman as your real estate agent? Have you ever thought about using Steve Harvey as your real estate agent? All right. And now it's a great segue without getting yourself sued, because you're not using somebody's name. You just ask them. They said it, and now you can reply to them. Okay. So understand how to do that. All right. But be careful about using an actor's name without their permission. Okay.
Right.
Okay. Okay. Very good. So you got a great segue because you do have that Steve Harvey look. And so why don't you utilize it? Why don't you utilize it and say, I'm the real estate agent here? Tell me, if I was your agent, who do I look like? And then when you get all these responses, ask them, would you like to have Steve Harvey as your real estate agent? All right. Are you looking to buy and sell real estate? How can I help you? And that all led into from a conversation to a client. All right. So that's how it works. That's how it works. It's all psychology. All right. But that's how it works. Everybody can do that. All right. Robin can do it. Arthur can do it. I can do it. Who do you look like? You look like Groucho Marx to me. All right. So I might not be real happy about who I look like, maybe. But again, it's still a segue into a conversation. See? All right. All right. And that's it. The psychology. But see how your wheels are turning right now? That is what it's all about. This is entrepreneurship. This is being in business. And if you have the ability to be creative and start thinking like this, then you are made to be an entrepreneur. You're made to be a business person. Most people don't have this creativity, but now I can see the wheels turning. That's why I like to see you every now and then. But yeah, Steve, look, I'm calling Steve Harvey. All right, Malika, sorry about that. All right. So yeah, Malik's wheels are turning. He's seeing things, and he's sitting on a lot of money right now. He's sitting on a lot of money right now, and he's just got to utilize it. He's got to put it into action, like Robin did. Robin took our meeting last week and made it work. And now, and again, like you say, gentlemen, it's like I said, look, I only got 3 of you here. I think Kamani had to go to work. All right. So, but you guys are getting the wisdom. You guys got the potential of running a business and making money. You now know all you got to do is start a conversation. Question is how do you start that conversation? All right. And if you're not answering that phone and that phone's going to voicemail, yeah, you're losing money. All right. You answer the phone unless you owe people money and you're afraid to answer the damn phone. That's a different story. All right. So, but you're never going to be able to pay off those debts unless you get this business rocking and roll. All right. How do you
Right.
think Lyft started out? It started off with somebody with an idea. How can we compete with these damn taxi cabs? How can, and little did they know they would start a freaking dynasty like Uber and Lyft. It started off as a local little app, and it got traction. It took off. You never know where something's going to take. Everything comes to a conversation. Now, let's have some conversation. Let's start with Arthur. Arthur, you got a deal that you hit me up on, and I wanted to save it to this meeting. Talk to me about this deal to share with the other agents.
Oh well, yeah, I gave this lady a call, and I was doing my normal calling around my pitch to her. So the way she responded when I asked her like would she would open her hand any offers on her property, like she started to say I'm not selling, but then she stopped and she like I want 600,000 for my property. If I'm going to be moving out of my home that I live in, I want 600,000. So I'm thinking she just was like blowing smoke, trying to hurry up and get me off the phone. I'm like, all right, cool. If 600,000, if that's the proper, if your property really in that ballpark, then I could definitely give you a call back and we make it work somehow. We make it go from there. So I actually hung up, and I'm like, before I make any call, I want to see what she talking about. And I looked it up, and like all in that section, all properties 400, 500, 600, 700. Like I'm like, oh, she might really be on to something. And I think a property on her block actually sold for like 585. So I'm like, yeah, no, she probably really is like that 600. She probably wasn't lying. She probably wasn't blowing smoke. So I gave her a call back, and I told her that, and she was like, well, right now, I'm really just trying to relax right now, and I really talking about selling the home is not relaxing to me. So just give me about a week and call me back in a week. And that's how that went.
So Arthur does cold calling. He's very good at it. All right. It doesn't bother him too much, and it's his forte. And he had a conversation, and he believed that the woman was just trying to blow him off the phone, gave him a ridiculous number. The property that Arthur will probably be listing in a week or two. Remember, it took me 3 months to land the deal that I showed you for a couple $1 million. You have to do that. It doesn't happen. But nobody else knows that this woman is even contemplating selling. Nobody even knows that she's even thinking about it. Arthur does, though, doesn't he? Because he's been making these phone calls. Now, Arthur knows that if he's smooth and he cultivates this and he talks to this woman, and, you know, I have a woman, her name's Betty. She calls me periodically, once a month, 3-4 times every 4 or 5 months. And if I don't hear from her, I'll call her just to make sure she's doing okay. Sweet woman. And I've helped her out with some real estate deals for her and everything. And I didn't make any money off of her, but I love calling her. I love talking. You know, we have a quick conversation. And you know what? I told you in the beginning of this meeting, kind of makes you feel good to help other people out. All right. And you never know where it's going to lead. You never know. Someday, you know, she might throw everything back to me, but she always thanks me for talking to her. And Arthur's probably going to do this as well. Arthur's going to start having conversation, not asking her for anything, but like, hey, hello, how are you? I spoke with you a couple of weeks ago. How's things going? And I was just checking in on you, see if everything's okay. Last time I spoke to you, you were telling me, you know, so your son's been a little bit of a hassle. Has that gotten any better yet? So when Arthur takes all his notes, he doesn't need to be a salesman. He doesn't need to be, I'm calling to see if we want to list that property. He can now have conversation. I understand last time we spoke, we're having some issues with the son. Is that getting any better yet? And now you stop. You don't be the chatterbox. You don't do all the talking. You want to do very little. So you want to make sure that somehow or another you're segueing into a question that they give you talk back to. Now we got conversation. That's the name of the game. And now when Arthur calls, it's not that pushy salesman. He's actually nice. He talks to me about this and he talks about that. And before you know it, Arthur's got this deal simply because he was compassionate, caring, and he was calling to see how things were going from the last conversation. That's what he's going to do. But now you know what he's going to do, which I'm doing. Again, as I said, ladies and gentlemen, that property is 802 Camac Street. All right, that Arthur's going to be landing. We already know it's Arthur's lead. Anybody else with this property? We already know it's Arthur's lead, so we already know this. All right. So now, once again, let's do this real quick, ladies and gentlemen. I want to once again, let's do it. Go right. So Arthur does it on the reverse side. I do it before I make the call. So I'm going to go into public records. I'm going to put in the address, 802 North Camac Street. All right, boom. And now, what do we have here? We got nothing. Oh, there's spelled right, Camac. And we got 1. And let's open it up. And now we have a person's name. So now Arthur will know if he's dealing with the right person, the owner of the property. All right.
Mhm.
Okay, very, very good. Now he's going to hit his view comparables real quick. No problem. He's immediately going to go to price, click on the sale amount so that we line them up. And look at this. Look at these numbers. All right. So again, we have this. Now, of course, I would like to go into the map and streamline it to find out what properties are currently for sale and what properties have sold. But for a quick start, we're right here. I like these numbers. Nothing too extravagant. All right. And even here, our average price is 608. That's what Arthur said. All right. If he just did this, like most real estate agents, that would be it. But not you guys, not my agents. So now what we're going to do is we're going to do the search and we're going to put it here.
You know what's crazy for this property right here? I actually did just do that because I forgot about I can't get into my Remind without being on my bike. So when I was trying to log into my Remind, it wasn't letting me. So I just used my bike to do it. I forgot I gotta do it too, right.
This is where you're going to get the best picture of the property as well.
And I rolled by that house. I didn't roll by that house many a times.
See?
Many a time. I know exactly where that's at.
See. And now I'm going to go straight on down. And now look, I'm in that 260 to 750. The insurance company's willing to insure it up to 500. She did give us a high number, 600. And even the value of Remind pops up right at the top. But again, we can see it right here. We got 404,740, and we got a value of 515 with Remind. All right, so we can use those two numbers. And then if I do one more thing, I go into the city records, 802 North Camac. All right, boom. And again, I want to make sure that I got the right owner, right person. And what we have here for tax purposes is 257. I want to see if we are behind on our taxes or our taxes are 3,597. That tells you right there that they think the value is more. And she doesn't owe anything. Her taxes are all paid up on her assessed value. Her taxes are based on the $257,000 value, not the fair market value of the property. So now I have the 257, I have the 515 and the 404, and then I have the 608. So using these numbers, I would say, you know, right now I'm coming up with about 530, 550 for the price of the property, just using numbers. And of course, I would say you're looking for 600,000. You know, my numbers are coming up around 550, but we might be able to get you 600,000. Is there a chance that I can come out and take a look at the property and find the strengths and the weaknesses of it? Or what Arthur can do is say, listen, let's put it on the market for 600,000 and let's see if we can get that for you. All right. But again, if we overprice the property and it doesn't appraise, then it's off or not. So we obviously don't want to take an overpriced property. I think she's slightly overpriced, but
I was thinking that too. I was thinking a little overpriced too.
Yeah. So, and the only way that you could do this is by using these three websites that I told you to come up with some valuable numbers, because I'm using the zip code here. But if I mapped it out and found out, I don't know exactly where she is. All right. But what I would do is, what is the zip code for her? She is in 19123. So what I would now do is go to search residential sales 19123, 19123. I come up with 112 properties. All right. And then I want to go to map. And I want to find out where she is. All right. And try to kind of just take it. Now, I don't know where she is, but Arthur's more familiar with the area. Kamak Street. Let's see if I can find Kamak Street here real quick. All right. And let's see if I get lucky and I find it here.
It's in that area.
It's in this
And then
area
quick
where I am.
Over,
Quick question, did the seller pay for the appraisal?
Yes. And so this is what I want to do for the appraisal and everything. So, okay. Just for short purposes, let's say Kamak's right here. I can't find it. But what I want to do is now hit this circle. Let's go right here and then spread out the circle. So I'm just taking the properties right around Kamak Street. Let's just say that's where Kamak is. And that's what I don't want the whole zip code. I just want a radius. Now, if I go back to the criteria, and I see the results, what'll happen is it's going to give me just the properties that were in that circle. All right. So if I look at the criteria, I'm sorry, go back here. If I look at the map, now it should, yep, see, it's only going to give me these that are in the circle now. So now
You got to 8th Street though, Mr. Nelson. You more like 2nd and 3rd. You gotta come over to 8th Street.
I'm just using this as an example, Arthur. Okay. I can't find Kamak, but I don't want to take up time. You would obviously find Kamak Street and try to do a half a mile radius around that. So notice what I did here. Notice this map. It's 0.17 miles. All right. So I could spread it out even further. All right. And then find the properties in this area. So no property information at this location. But I don't want to do that. I want to make sure that my radius is what an appraiser is going to use and what's going to be competition. So I want to see, and notice the number 0, 20 miles, half mile, all the way up to 0.3. That's a half a mile radius. I still think that's way too big of an area to try to use. So my Kamak Street is that dot, which it's not, but I'm saying if it was, then I really want to be within that 15, 17, maybe 20, no further than that, and just use the properties in this radius. I still think that's too much. I still like to be maybe, let's go 16, eliminate some of them. Now we're going to get closer to the price of this property because these homes are in that area. I don't need the whole damn zip code. All right. And if I have too many, maybe I can even shorten it even more. All right. If I have too many, but that's up to you. You decide. Now what I can do is find out what the results are. So we got the criteria. Let's do the results here. And it's going to give us the results of those that we put in that circle. And again, let's do our beds. And let's eliminate these 1 and 2 bedrooms because this property is a 3-bedroom home. All right. So let's eliminate these. Boom. Knock these out of the ballpark. We don't need these. Refine. Discard them. Boom. Now we're dealing with 3, 4. Do we need these 5 and 6 bedroom homes? No, we don't need them. All right. Let's get them out of the way as well. Boom. Discard them. And now Arthur can come in with these 3 and 4 bedrooms with a price range, and notice his price range. If Kamak Street was at that dot and I circled this radius, these are properties that are currently on the market at this price range. This helps Arthur. But what is going to help Arthur even more is changing the criteria from properties that are on the market to properties that have sold in the last 90 days. And once again, the results are going to stay within that circle. And now Arthur's got these that have sold in the last 90 days. All right. We obviously are not going to use this $1 million property. Let's discard that. And now Arthur is, look at this. And I said we were probably in that 550 range. I think we could probably get 600,000 for this property based on some of our numbers. All right. I find it interesting that these are below the 725. Why? Because they had price changes. All right. This went up in value. Let's take a look at this one. All right. So they started this property. All right. They started this property when they got it at $599, $999. And what did they do? They raised it $1 just to get some activity going. And they raised it by $1 just so if you're on a hot sheet, it'll pick up on your hot sheet, right? And that's why that one's below. And this 615 had a price decrease. And this is going to help Arthur, you know, to see if the property is very similar to his property. This is a beautiful property on 3rd Street. All right. It's got a deck on the top, so maybe it's worth more. They didn't do any outside pictures on this one. But what happened, they started at 650 when they listed the property, 173 days on the market, and now they reduced the price to 615 from 650. Arthur has this valuable information so that he doesn't overprice the property and it sits on the market forever, and then he has to reduce the price. So having this valuable information, knowing what we're looking at, helps him price a property. So 600,000, maybe we're probably in her price range.
On that
But at
615
least-
property,
Hold on, Robin. Go ahead, Robin.
wasn't there, it says an agreement of sale on 2/24? Oh,
They
it closed. Okay, it closed. I'm sorry.
Yeah, these are all closed deals. Yes. So we
Okay.
want the properties that have sold in the last 90 days, as well as the properties that are currently on the market.
Okay.
Right? Yep. All right.
All
And
right.
this way here, we can come up with value. And the closed are the most important because the appraiser's only going to use the closed deals. The appraiser will not use properties that are currently on the market or properties that did not sell, as I taught you in my class. The appraiser's only going to use the properties that have sold within a half-mile radius and in the last 90 days. So in our map, the appraiser is actually going to go out to 30. Boom. And use all these properties that have sold in the last 90 days. The appraiser's allowed to do that. They're allowed to go out to a half-mile radius, 90 days. Right? Now, you can price your property based on what you believe it'll appraise for. So you got a lead there, Arthur. She wants 600,000. I think we can get her 600,000. Plus she wants to have money to buy another property.
Yeah, I was gonna bring that up.
Go
That's
ahead.
the reason she said the 600,000. She said she gonna leave her home. She want to buy another one. She want to move to another one. So I figured like that'd be a good one. So hopefully, see how this go.
Here's what I love about Remind. Because look, she's sitting on, and that's 600,000. She's sitting on 263,000 in equity. What is equity? Oh, and look at this. It's a duplex. Is that right? Let me take a look at this and go to the zoning. And it's zoned residential, okay, which is okay. It's zoned residential. Here's the property. It's zoned residential. So what do we want to do? We go to license and inspection, and we see if we have a rental license. If we have a rental license, which we don't, then this property's a single family property. All right. For some reason or another, Remind has it as a 2-unit property. I don't know why that is, but in any event, we now know it's not. And I don't know if these
They
guys
gotta have
understand.
renters like in order for it to be multifamily.
If it was multifamily, we might have some more value in it. We might.
No,
But
I'm
it's
saying
not.
no, I was saying that they gotta have a renter's license in order for it to be zone single family, but still you can use it as a multifamily.
That is absolutely correct. Absolutely correct. Because if we take one of mine, what did I have? 1218 Pratt, was it? Look at this. So 1218 Pratt. Let's take a look at this. Make sure I got the right one. Yeah, it's the right one. And now look at this. We go to license and inspection and we click onto this. Well, first of all, let's do the zoning. All right. So let's go back and let's do zoning. All right. So we do our zoning. We will see that this property is residential, single family. Here it is right here. It's a residential property. But if I go to license and inspection and I click onto this link here, guess what? I will find that if I go right here where it says business license, click onto that, I see 2004. I'm thinking, crap, it's old, it's no good, but it's active and it's 2 units. So even though it's zoned single family residential, because of that rental license, we're now allowed to sell this as a 2-family property, a duplex, even though it's zoned, because Philadelphia is kind of weird like this. As long as I have a rental license, then we're good. Let me show you one more thing here. Let me show you one more. I want you to see this. So let's do, I think it's 1200 Arrett Street. Let's do this. Let's go back here. Hold on one second. Let's do this. Okay, let's do this. 1200 Arrett. I think this is it. And let's do this. And that's it. Arrow. I didn't want arrow. I want Arrett. The what word spell? 1200 Arrett. Okay, very, very good. And let's do this. I want the front page. Let's do it here. 1200 Arrett. Don't do my word spell. All right, boom. Now, let's take a look at this. So first things first, let's do zoning. On zoning, what do I have? I got residential, RSA 2. It's a residential property right here. Here it is here. See this big property? So now I want to go to license and inspection. I click onto this and I'll check this out. I have license here. Click onto the business license. Here it is. And guess what? This is a 6-unit property that is zoned residential. But even though it's zoned residential, this rental license that is active makes it a legal 6-unit property. So you got to be real careful. And this is why I want you to do these 3 sites. These 3 sites will give you the information that you need. Maybe it's zoned residential multifamily, but there's no active license. That's okay, because now the zoning covers us. The zoning says it's multifamily, so it's legal. But if it's zoned residential and it has a rental license, it's legal.
And RM1, that's when it's like multifamily, right?
Yes, RM1 would be your residential multi-family
So
property.
what's the CMX? The commercial?
Commercial.
Mixed unit?
Commercial.
Mixed unit, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes. And I have that as well. All right.
So if it's just a home, like if it's like the whole property is a home,
That
how
is-
it still commercial? Like how do you do that? They still could turn it into a business one day?
Yes, but commercial CMX is commercial mixed use, which means you might have a commercial entity downstairs and apartments upstairs. All right. And so that's usually what you get with a CMX, commercial mixed use. So it's commercial and residential. All right. If it's just commercial, then there's no living quarters in it. And that would be a different zoning. All right. But CMX is your commercial mixed use, commercial and residential. Right. And so,
And
and
it don't have to be the commercial property though. It could just be like one house. Cause I seen those too. It'd be like CMX, but it's just like a home. It's not no property. It's just a home. I mean, it's not a business or anything. It's just a home.
here's the other thing. Notice that I got 2 buildings at this address. What is that? 2 buildings at this address. So I want to go to Remine and let's put in this 1200 Arrett Street. and see what they mean by two buildings. All right, because this actually came up when we were talking 1200, and it was actually Tal who caught this real quick and taught me a little lesson there. And so now let's take a look at this property. All right, so here is the Arrett Street property. I only see one building. All right, but if you pull this up in Google and get a street, you will see that over here is another building, which I didn't know because I don't really use Google too much. But let's just real quickly, that gives us a street look at when we do Google, and we can use street. And if you do use your Chrome or you use Google, stop sharing. And then I put in that something else I learned that I didn't know until Tal showed this to me. So I'm going to be in Google. Let's do this, share my screen with you guys so you guys see what I'm doing here. Let's close this out. And let's do this, share my screen with you guys here. Hold on, share the screen. And I'm using my Chrome. Where's my Chrome here? And let's see if we can find this here. Hold on one second. Brave browser. Where's the Chrome? Safari, Google Chrome. There it is. Okay, let's do this. Boom. All right, so now 1200 Arrett Street. Boom. 1200 Arrett. All right, boom. And here's what this does. You click onto this street view, and this is what Tal did. And now what we can do is scroll down a little bit, and here's what it's talking about. Here's the other little property that goes with this property. I didn't even know this thing existed. Tal showed it to me, right? And the only reason that we knew it existed is because in the atlas, it showed two lots, two buildings. All right. For this address at 1200 Arrett.
So what's the other one? That's a house too?
Yes. Yes.
It's a one floor house.
Exactly. And remember, this is 6 units. Here's the problem. 5 units in this address, 1 unit here, which kind of made it a little bit of a problem because this came up under a different address. Notice it comes up under 4693 Horrock Street. But in the city records, it is 1200 Arrett Street, 2 lots, 2 buildings. See, this is why I want you guys to use these websites that I give you. Because if we look at it, we don't see the second building. It's not here. But we do see for tax purposes, it is there. We got this, but it still looks like the same. But notice what happened. You see this building here now? Boom. I didn't catch it. I saw this building here. But it also has this building that I just showed you right here. Boom. Tal caught it. I didn't catch it. By using this website, the city site, now you can see that these numbers are telling you that there's 2 buildings at this address at 1200 Arrett Street. This building and this building are all, even though it's on Horrock Street, and if I look at the map, it's telling me it's 4693 Horrock Street, but the city has grandfathered it in to one address, 1200 Arrett Street. So we got 2 different buildings. And I found that out when we were talking to the guy because Tal got the rentals. He's going to do the rental on all these, and I'm doing the sale of all these. So these are the things that you pick up by using these 3 sites that I tell you over and over and over again. Even I learned a lesson last week.
How was the properties always together like that? Or did they had to buy one and then make it together, make it one property?
Well, again, different answers to those questions. But now what we've learned is just because it's zone residential, that's a 6-unit property, but it's zone residential. But that license, that rental license, makes it a legal property. Even though it's zone residential, it's got a rental license for 6 units. So it is, it's a multifamily property legally. And the city of Philadelphia does that. They're kind of mixed up there. They've made so many changes over the years, grandfather stuff in there, it gets confusing. And this is why I want you using these 3 sites so that you know that the property that you're talking about, you know the owner, you know the square footage, you know the legal zoning, you'll know if they have a rental license, you'll have all this information before or after you contact them. Does everybody have the 3 sites? So does everybody understand the psychology of the numbers? You want to get listings? You'll be a listing king or queen by just doing that. You want to pay $35 for a lead, for a listing lead? Fine. But make that $35 work. Get on there, do your numbers. That's the way I do it. You could do it like Arthur. You could do it any way you want. But now I got the numbers for you. Just calling to see if you are ready for these numbers. And that little psychology, leave them bewildered. Don't know what the hell you're talking about. I was understanding that you were looking for value for the property. You might be thinking about selling it maybe 3 months down the line, 6 months down the line, and you wanted to get an idea of what it's worth right now. So I was calling with those numbers. Is that correct? You want the value of the property? And that's how I qualify the lead. And then I give my numbers. And then after I give my numbers, I try to land the listing. Cultivate it. Oh, one more thing, ladies and gentlemen, almost forgot the new forms for the MOS. Almost forgot. Get you out of here in a little bit here. I just got one more thing to do in this class just to make sure that we have this covered. Seller package. In the package that I sent you, you have 2 forms that you've never seen before. And these are brand new forms. And my client already signed them, but let's go over these new forms that the MOS, right, is now going to make us do. All right. And so close that out. Let's close this out. Let's close this out. We don't need that anymore. Let's close that out. All right. And let's just shrink that down. And now share my screen. And here are the 2 new forms that we have to do. So if you're going to work sellers and you're going to be putting property into the MOS, then you're going to need one of these 2 forms. Notice that this is an MOS disclosure and residential seller landlord option form. Brand new form that we now have to fill out with the MOS. Okay. And we got to put in the broker's name at the top, the client's name here at the top, the date, the address, and we got to check. Is it a seller client? Is it a buyer client? Okay. And then this explains how Bright works. And then the client's got to acknowledge that they understand how Bright works, how they use their information. They got to initial here. Then the seller also has to explain, they got to date it, which one of these options they want to use. Most likely, it's always going to be the first one. Use Bright to share my home information with the open market. Yes, Bright will share the property information with other subscribers and popular website apps. You and your broker still manages access to the home. So now Bright is telling you that once you put it in Bright, they're going to send it out to Zillow, Home Games, and Realtor.com, all them. All right. Or use Bright to share my home information with real estate professionals in Bright only, but not to Zillow, Realtor, Homes.com, so forth. All right. Or my home is ready for marketing, but will be ready for showing. This is your coming soon properties. I'm listing it today, but we're not going to actually start showing the property until a certain time. Or I do not want my home in the open market. I'm restricting the marketing. I don't even want it in Bright. Now Bright now has that opt-out that your client doesn't even want to be in the MOS. Then they will initial here. They're only going to choose one of these options. This is your first form. Fairly easy. All right. Broker's name, client's name, and the date of your listing. Is it a seller client? Is it a buyer client? We're going to talk about that in a second. And the address. For the most part, these are going to be for sellers. All right. And then we got to acknowledge, the seller's got to acknowledge that they understand how Bright works. They'll initial one of these. And again, a date, and we will choose only one of these options. The way we choose it is not by Xing it. They have to initial the box. They have to put their initials on one of these boxes before we can put this in the MOS. Here's the other form that we now have to do. It's in your package. I already sent them to you. You have them. Here's the other form that we now need to do. And this form, seller instructions for marketing the property. And now the seller, by initialing, represents, and they're probably going to initial all these except for the last box. They're going to initial all of them except the last one. I understand that if I choose not to promote my home through Bright multiple listing service in an impartial basis, that I could potentially be leaving money sitting on the table. Little marketing for Bright. All right. So I understand that if I don't use it, I could be losing money by not using that marketing platform. I understand that most properties in the area are marketed through Bright. I understand that not allowing Bright to distribute my property also holds me back a little bit. I understand that the Bright system enables information to be available to thousands of other agents. I understand that entering my property information into the system does not cost me anything. But the last one, I am instructing my broker not the market through the MOS. So we will either initial just this last box, or we will initial all of these boxes except for the last one. Okay, easy enough. But it's now something that we got to do in our DocuSign. We got to send 2 new forms with our seller before we're allowed to put these properties in Bright now. All right, by signing below. Seller landlord certifies they read all this. So we, once again, we'll put the property address here, the date of our listing contract. Now, please be careful about this listing expiration. Make it 1 month after your contract after expires. So if your contract expires in September 30th, then you're going to mark October 30th. They don't get to see the contract. That's why they're putting these forms together. Is this me? All right, so 1 second here. Okay, very good. Now, remember that listing date's always 30 days beyond our contract because they have that information. And I want real estate agents calling your clients to try to get the listing because it's going to expire soon. First potential day that the buyer renter may learn about the property. All right, could be a day or two after you put it in there. Coming soon, or it could be the same day. Now we're going to need the seller's signature here and their date. We're going to need you, the listing agent, to print your name. All right, because it says print. You're going to use your Bright MOS number. Do you know what that is, ladies and gentlemen? Stop sharing your screen. How do you get your Bright MOS number? Here's how you do it. Very, very simple. All right, let me share the screen with you. This is how you get your Bright MOS number. When you go to Bright, right here at the top is your name. All right. Just click your drop down and there is your Bright ID number right there. Okay. So on your MOS, you got your name right there. Just click down and there is your number. That number is what you're going to be putting here. Agent Bright MOS ID number. Stop sharing because you can't see it. Hold on. Share my screen. And now, once again, that number there, ladies and gentlemen, goes right here. Bright MOS number that you will get at the top of your Bright. Orange name, click down, there's your number. Use that number, put it here. The broker's name will print the name and the office manager's signature. So what I will do is on these forms that I'm going to send you, ladies and gentlemen, I will have, as I'll show you right now, mark up. And guess what? And now do signature. This way here, I have it. And what I'll do is I'll send this to you. So my signature's already there. And then just throw the date in. So for me, for whatever contract you did, this way here, my signature will be there. Again, these are new forms. I didn't know I needed to do that until I just explained it to you. So I'll resend this form to you with my signature already there. So you already have this. Put it in there. Any questions on these 2 forms? They're in your file. Look them over. Let me know if you have any problems. We did not get to the buyers yet, ladies and gentlemen, which means we're going to have forms soon by Bright that will not allow us to even set up properties for our potential buyer without the new forms that we'll have from Bright soon that they'll have to sign before we can even set up property for them. This is the change that's coming down the pike. All right, let's just start getting used to it now. Any questions or comments?
No.
Does anybody have any deals they want to talk to me about?
Not yet. Nothing yet.
Okay. If you take away anything from this class, remember what I taught you. Set up your Google My Business account. Get that started. Get into Google. And then Instagram is the other big one that you want to stay focused on. Right?
Got you.
Always available, ladies and
All right.
gentlemen. Call me if you need me.
Okay.
Always available. All right?
Appreciate you.
You got it, my friends. You take care. Just go out and make some.
Thanks a lot.
You're very welcome.
Yes, sir.
Everyone
right.
have a good one.
Enjoy.
All right. You get out of it.